Buongiorno, siamo qua per la conferenza stampa di uno dei nostri film in concorso, The Power of the Dog, e vi presento a partire dalla destra in fondo i nostri ospiti. Il produttore Roger Frappier, produttore Ian Canning, il produttrice Dania Sagacian, la regista e sceneggiatrice del film Jane Campion, Kristen Dunst e Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm going to start with a quick question to Jane. Jane, you're
Lego Italy. My question is to Mr. Cumberbatch. I would like to ask you, since Phil seems to be an alpha man, sometimes he's very aggressive and very competitive. I was wondering if you can share with us your opinion about toxic masculinity, and if it's a redeemable quality in him, maybe. And what do you think about the shift of power in the relationship that we see in the movie between women and men? Thank you.
This is for the rest of the press conference, right? I'll write my thesis later. No, I think he does, for me, the toxicity is something that is a product of his nurture, his upbringing, his circumstance. It's nothing that's arrived fully fledged. It comes out of a moment and a moment and a moment and a moment. So I can understand him. I can look into that and appreciate it, not condone it, but understand it. So I don't think it's redeemed by that. It's part of who he is, part of his flaw, part of his personal tragedy. And I think I can understand someone who is defensive, who is anxious about everything they've built being potentially taken away, who is lonely, who is repressed, who is feeling isolated in his circumstance, and everything that he's tried to create that is authentic in his life when there's a center of authenticity that can't fully be revealed. And I think, as far as how it speaks to toxic masculinity in the world, if you go towards it trying to understand it and acknowledge it, that is the only way to bridge it and change it, really. You can't just oppose it. It's fuel on the fire if you do that. You have to understand why these damaged people are causing damage to others and themselves. And whether that's world leaders on the stage, you know, strong men of politics that have risen again in recent times, or whether it's something within your own life or culture, that it has to be addressed and challenged, but it also has to be understood. It's not just about locking the monster away and throwing away the key. Otherwise, it keeps recycling.
I'd like to follow up with the question to Kristen, because it's a follow-up. You are the target. Your character Rose is the target of his frustration, is hatred and self-hatred. How did you work on a character that is on a receiving end and made it real? I think also, and Jane maybe can add to it. In the book, Rose was a smaller character. She was kind of a shadow. Here you have amplified her presence.
Yeah. Start first? Okay. So the first half was being on the receiving end of all of that. Well, it's interesting. Benedict and I didn't talk to each other on set at all. I mean, we almost felt guilty if we were like, hi. Like, it was just, we kept our distance. A lot of my scenes aren't even with him, so I kind of had to create my own demons and, you know, figure that out for myself, because there's not a scene where we fight, or it's a very few exchanges, and, you know, the piano scene, his artistry kind of like trumps mine, and it's all, I also feel like that Rose is a little bit representing all the pain that is inside of him in a way too. So I kind of saw it as, you know, a bigger picture of this, you know, relatable pain of isolation, of being gaslit by someone.
I'm just listening. paper. Jane said that you're one of the funniest people when she was researching you, Benedict. And here you hardly crack a smile, but you might be called the Cumber bastard this time. I was just thinking, just to make something funny, but
I'll give you that, it's good.
but you've worked with, you played a bit of a bastard with Breathing Fire for Peter Jackson, and now another New Zealand director, you're playing another. You normally play relatively nice guys. So how was it to go to New Zealand and simulate Montana and also play the bad guy in a was he bad? I know you just explained his...
I mean, yeah, I have a problem with that kind of simplistic duality, not to, you know, sound too pompous about it, but I think he's just so complex. Once you start understanding someone, he can't become just the cookie-cutter antagonist bad guy. And that's kind of the beautiful poetry and complexity of the whole situation, and what Savage explores in the book, as well as what Jane has made in the film. And I loved going back to New Zealand. I couldn't get enough of it. It's an extraordinary country. It held us in a very precarious moment in our human history as a family at that point. My wife and children, and my mum and my dad as well. So we were very, very fortunate to be together, very fortunate to be in that country with those people. And yeah, I'll happily go back to play a cookie-cutter villain as well if you want me to. I mean, any excuse to go down there. I think I'd need it. I don't think I'm allowed back now. It's a very special place to be. We felt very privileged to be welcomed and, yeah, and make our home there for the duration of filming. Yeah, very true. It's freeing. It's freeing. It's a freeing experience. You know, you want to please. You want the experience to match the expectation, both for yourself as an artist, but also for the person who has put their trust in you. And when it's Jane, she gives you every facility to go there. Whether it's introducing you as a character to the cast and crew and saying, you know, you'll meet Benedict at the end of the shoot, and just allowing you to be that person for an entire run of production. Or whether it's facilitating an exploration of character before production has begun by going to Montana, by getting involved in roping and riding and ranching and just having an immersive experience where you are free to express it as fully as you can within the paradigms of her good taste. It's a great experience, but she's also really good fun.
Somewhere here.